Hello, my name's Adam Noon and you're watching The Best Football Show. Joining you again after an action-packed weekend of Premier League football to talk to you about one player that's whose name is on the lips of all football fans, and that player is Harry Kane, the Tottenham Hotspur and England striker, England's number 9, Harry Kane. And it's something that we do here on The Best Football Show is to take relevant topics, take hot topics, trending topics that you'll find on social media, just again give them some sort of expert analysis, kind of separate the wheat from the chaff and really try and settle debates once and for all about, is this good, is this bad, and kind of people can watch this and they can find out the right answer. And the question that we're going to take on today is Harry Kane a one-season wonder? It's a question that comes up a lot on the terraces and in the pubs and front rooms of the football watching community, the sort of people for whom this has been a real boon, a great source of information, and adds to their match day experience. So without further ado, I want to present the case for and against the idea that Harry Kane is a one-season wonder. Okay, so is Harry Kane, is he a one-season wonder? Let's start with the case against. Firstly, he is a goal scorer, someone who people love to see scoring goals, all sorts of goals, and the main thing here is that he scores those goals in the Premier League, which is the best league in the world. I think the only league where he could go and really prove himself as a goal scorer even further than the Premier League would be Serie A, which is what they call the Premier League in Italy. And it's not necessarily that Serie A is a better league than the Premier League. It's not. The Premier League is the best in the world. But Serie A defences are renowned as the best in the world. If you're a guy who really likes defending, I'd recommend watching a lot of Italian footballs. Real classic legendary teams like Milan and Inter Milan, who are two different teams. Some of the best defenders in the world. Boring football, but there's never any goals. But I think in terms of the Harry Kane argument, it would be interesting to see him go to a big team, a Parma, a Sampdoria, a Juventus, and to see whether he could score goals there, because they are the best defences, and it would be interesting to see whether he could do that. But let's not get away from the fact that this is actually a point in the pro section for Harry Kane being more than a one-season wonder, is that he scores goals in the Premier League, best league in the world. And then the case against Harry Kane being a one-season wonder, again, next is he has scored 7 goals in 7 games against Arsenal, one of the big rivals for Tottenham Hotspur, the team that Harry Kane plays for. The reason that this is so crucial is that Arsenal are famous for being a ball-playing team, sort of team that play football in the right way, proper football as I call it. They like to keep the ball on the floor and they're able to pass it around to each other. They don't lose the ball very often at all. That's the way that football should be played. But the thing that a lot of people don't realise about possession football is that when you've got the ball, it's effectively the best form of defence, because if you have the ball, the other team don't have the ball, and if the other team don't have the ball, what can't they do? Score goals. And that's what makes Harry Kane's record against Arsenal, 7 goals in 7 games, so remarkable, because he won't see a lot of the ball playing them, but that he scored goals against them anyway. And then finally, in the case for Harry Kane, in it's the fact that he plays, as I mentioned, for Tottenham Hotspur, a team that everybody will be aware of, a team that have been in the Premier League ever since it started. But crucially, not one of the big four teams. Not a traditionally big team, Tottenham, not a big team really at all. Certainly not an Arsenal, certainly not a Liverpool, or a Chelsea or a Man United. And I think that when they're not a big team, often don't have as good players and strikers, as we know, survive on crosses and on passes sometimes. And in a team like Tottenham, who won't have as good players as a Man United or a Chelsea, chances are going to be worse. And again, I think that makes his goal scoring record more incredible. So now we go for the case to say that Kane is a one-season wonder. Let's have a look at some of these. So, first off, in the Premier League era, the undisputed #1 striker of all Premier League strikers, of course, Alan Shearer. Alan Shearer has got 260 Premier League goals in his career. And then second from there, still not quite Shearer's level, but certainly a legend in Premier League terms, is Wayne Rooney. And Wayne Rooney has scored something like 200 goals, something along those lines. Kane has only scored 100 Premier League goals. I think he scored his 101st against Arsenal. He scored his 100th in the game against Liverpool recently. 101 goals is a good return, obviously, but crucially is only roughly half of what Rooney has scored, and much less than half of what Shearer has scored. And that you have to think, is this a one-season wonder kind of guy? Until he puts up the sort of numbers that a Shearer or a Rooney or a Peter Crouch has got, there's nothing really to say that he is going to be, more than that. The second thing, and I think this is something that really damages his reach and his reputation, is he's not much of a dribbler. People love to see dribblers, forwards, people in the mould of Ronaldinho, who can get on the ball, take a guy on and excite fans. Kane, not sort of that player, and I think that he's still only young. I think he's 24, 25-ish, and I think that really to be seen as not being a one-season wonder, really have to add that to his game. I think that's something that the real top players have got. You don't see him very often beating 3-4 players and then sort of deftly put it in the corner or chipping a keeper. Even largely his goals are kind of just, he gets the ball and he just shoots. Like I say, I think really, if he really wants to step up to that next level, I'd like to see him working on his dribbling skills. And then finally, in the case against, I would say something that you really got to remember with a player like Kane is he's only ever one injury away from his career being over. If he plays against a team and he scored, especially if he scored a couple of goals, the likelihood is that those lesser teams, you know who I'm talking about, a Burnley, someone like that, who haven't got, they're kind of, they don't play football in the right way. They try and defend too much, and they try and stifle teams like Arsenal by kicking them. Tottenham aren't an Arsenal, but Harry Kane is a good goal scorer, and oftentimes teams will resort overtly to kicking players that score a lot of goals, and that you think that realistically, if he doesn't take well to that kicking, he could get injured, pretty much in any game he plays, and you can never tell. Sometimes if it's a bad thigh injury or metatarsal injury, as we've seen so many of the great England legends of the past struggle with, all it would take is one of those injuries that he didn't recover from, and then that would be it. He'd have no more football career. So I think we've summed up realistically on that about Harry Kane. I think that probably puts that to bed. I think we all know where we stand, and I think when it comes to being in the pub or talking to friends and wanting to impress them, I think hopefully now you should have enough information to kind of show that, well, especially when it comes to Harry Kane, you really know what you're talking about. Yeah, thanks for watching. Again, some fantastic comments, some fantastic likes of the last few videos, getting a ton of watchers, a ton of views, loads of buzz on social media, a lot of interesting comments and feedback. Mostly good. Some people, again, not getting what we're doing, but then, it's not for them. That's what I've got to say to that. But if you do want to get in touch with us, the email address is thebestfootballshow@gmail.com, and it's @bestfootyshow on Twitter. And once again, thanks for watching.